Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to A Better World with Adrian. I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode is soft and sweet and intimate and important. So, without really saying anything else, let us call upon the altar. No matter where you are, what you're doing, where you're tuning in from, connect with the altar the way that you can. I have white lilies on the altar. They're representing a new beginning. They are representing all different stages of the manifestation process. One of the lilies is all the way open. The other lily is halfway open. It's literally just like halfway. And the other one has the bud still almost all the way shut, just barely starting to open. And this really represents the beauty and the honoring of every stage in the process of building a better world, the process of becoming your highest self, the process of really opening your heart in a world that makes it really easy and enticing to want to close your heart. I have a single hot pink fuchsia rose on the altar. And this rose has inspired this whole podcast. She is rare. She is in a category of one. And just bringing through this hot, fiery energy of love. I have a bee on the altar. If you have been following my work at all, you know that I am opening the Holy Habits Hive Mind. It's a 6-month deep dive matriarchy transformation for powerful, mystical women to live their holy habits, to master their divine discipline. I have a whole podcast on how to master your holy habits. I did an interview on why mystics need discipline, and we're doing it all through the hive. And I was guided to a little shop where I'm living it was all natural products. It's called Be Joyful, Bee Joyful. And I got this little diffuser that's a bee. And I just so grateful for spirit guiding me to this place and this bee. And, even my experience in that shop is directly infused into this transmission because it was very nourishing. And the bee is all about teamwork. The bee is about hard work and the nectar of life and spreading the nectar and pollinating the flowers and sleeping together and buzzing together. And it's just an important spirit guide. I also have a bunny here on the altar. I have a little white figurine of a bunny, and actually on my walk this morning, I always take a really, really, really long walk outside, no matter where I'm at in the world. Like, even when I'm in a big major city, which it's so funny that I lived in one of the biggest cities in the world for 10 years. And now, like, I go and it's exciting. And then I'm like, time to leave. This energy's dense, It's like honoring the process of change, just like the lilies are showing us. I was on my long walk and a bunny just ran out right in front of me in the path, and it made in the snow, it made these little paw prints and little hippity hop prints. And bunnies represent fertility. So there's a fertility on the space, on the altar. May this be fertile ground for your dreams. May this be fertile ground for the highest timeline and good of all. I have an unscented white beeswax candle burning on the altar, purifying our space. And the final part of our altar Our altar is how we say thank you to spirit and connect for the transmission is the element of air. We take 3 deep breaths together, connecting mind, body, and spirit. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Move your arms, move your shoulders. Shake off anything from today you don't want to take with you. Inhale through your nose. The color yellow enters the space, bringing in power, power, power. Any power you've given away, call it back to your being now. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale through your nose. Holding at the top. This time your crown chakra is opening. The purple third eye on your forehead is opening. And you are ready to receive, to transmit. What energy are you bringing to this space? Keep holding. Exhale out the mouth. If you felt inspired to close your eyelids, you can reopen them now. You can also keep them shut if you want. The portal is officially open, and today I am really just so deeply called to sharing something that is beyond love. Sharing something that's beyond love. You know, we are in February at the time of this recording, and February is, in a Hallmark holiday sense, people are talking about love a lot in February. And people talk about how the world needs more love, the world needs more love, the world needs more love. And love can be cheap. Love can be surfacey. And I have discovered something much, much deeper than love in this lifetime, and it's what each of us actually need. And it's only when we give this to ourselves and create this between ourselves and spirit, creator, universe, God source, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, when we can actually do this with another. Because remember, we cannot give something we don't have. I once heard, it was extremely powerful. One of my teachers once said, it is unloving to ask something to ask someone for something they don't have. It is unloving to ask someone for something they don't have. And we do this all the time in dating. We do this all the time with um any relationship. It really is, everything in your life is a relationship. You're in relationship with food, you're in relationship with spirit, you're in relationship with your soul, you're in relationship with your workouts, you're in relationship with your habits, you're in relationship with your business, you're in relationship with other humans. I'm in relationship with this rose on the altar. It's all relationship. And we cannot, it is unloving to ask someone for something they don't have. So this is what a lot of people do in relationships of any kind. Um, I unconsciously did this many times in many relationships, and it really was me just realizing like, hey, I'm an unstoppable train. Like, this is who I am. I'm I'm a very powerful being. I'm a very powerful essence, and I've always been that way since I was a little kid. And I've said this on the podcast before, but my parents used to say all the time when I was a little kid, they're like, we got to make sure we channel that for good, you know? And I like lovingly describe myself to people sometimes because I am so fiery. And it's a very, I have so much earth that I'm very grounded. I'm not like sporadic and chaotic. I'm very methodical, but I'm also very, very fiery. And, it's very like Mars energy is about action and Leo energy is about shining your light. Like the sun, if I don't have a job, like I'll self-destruct. And I literally physically feel it, like if I'm not sharing my gifts, if I'm not using my energy correctly, um, it's not good for me. It's not good for anyone. So, in my past, I've been in relationships with people who just couldn't meet me there, Like I my divine counterpart is gonna be an unstoppable train in their own right, you know. So I got a little bit off topic, however, I'm just allowing spirit to speak through me because it's just so important. And what I really want to share about today is not about love, is about cherishment. It's about being cherished. And this was really inspired by a few things. I was really, I started the Holy Habits Hive Mind. The doors are still open, by the way, if you want to apply. Um, we are really talking about what does it mean to cherish yourself? What does it mean to cherish yourself? To cherish is to treat something, someone like the greatest asset, like your most treasured resource. Like this is literally the most important thing in your life. And it's a verb, it's what you do, it's how you be. And what I've learned so much is that from my own personal path and coaching hundreds and hundreds of amazing, powerful souls, is that self-love can kind of be grouped into like self-care and used a lot as like sabotage, self-sabotage, like sneaky self-sabotage. Like bubble baths is not like self-love. Can it be part of self-love and self-care? Yeah. You want to know what's real self-love? Being the real you and showing up for yourself and having your back. That's real self-love. And the greatest compliment I have ever received in this life so far was from my auntie, Sonia auntie, and I called her my Chicago mom. I got Brazilian waxes from her every 6 weeks for almost 10 years. And it was literally like she's like a matriarch, like powerhouse figure to me. And she's from Delhi, she's Indian. It was like every single guy I dated was not good enough for me. And P.S., she was right about 99% of them. There was only one guy that made the mark. And it was so interesting because the reason we didn't get married was because his family was Indian and I'm white, and we just couldn't get past that. Um, but I will never ever forget. She said this to me, and this was the first time and I didn't do it consciously, but I started to really realize, like, oh wow, like I actually love myself. I actually respect myself. I actually trust myself. She told me one day, she's like, "You are glowing. You are absolutely beautiful." And I said, "Oh, thank you. I'm just like so happy on my path." This was like after I started my business, and I just was like pouring and pouring and pouring magic. And I was like People were like, "Oh my gosh, you work so much." I'm like, "Is it work or play? I'm just having so much fun building my vision." And the next thing she said brought me to absolute tears. And she said, "You were so thin before, but I could tell you weren't happy." She said, "You're a lot more beautiful now." And this is ojas, 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 the yogic term, the Ayurvedic term for the subtle glow of health, vitality. And I knew exactly what she was talking about because before I was incredibly thin, and it's not like I'm not thin now. However, I'm vital. I'm vital now, and I'm happy, and I keep my word with myself. And it was in that moment that I really, she reflected back to me that I was cherishing myself. And because I was cherishing myself, it was radiating out through the pores of my skin, through my smile. And she kept saying, she's like, "You're hot, you're hot." And it's like so funny to even think about that example, but it was so powerful because it was one of the metrics that people use was actually, she's like, "You were so thin before, but you weren't this beautiful." And she's like, "I could tell you weren't happy." Right. And so in that moment, I was like, yeah, it's because I'm actually cherishing myself. I was no longer sleeping with men that hurt me, that I knew were bad for me. I was no longer ghosting my vision. I was going all in on my vision. I was deeply respecting myself in every crevice of my life. And I had been sober for years at that point. How we do one thing is how we do everything. And there were corners of my life where I was allowing and choosing to hurt myself and therefore hurt spirit and block my connection to spirit. I wasn't cherishing me, even though I like quote unquote loved myself, you know. I wasn't cherishing myself, and there's a huge, huge difference. To be cherished is to be worshipped, is to be revered, is to be honored, is to treat yourself as a royal, and it's not about ego. It's my, we set an altar for this podcast. Why do we do that? To set the stage for spirit. When you realize that your body is a stage for spirit, when you realize that your body is an altar, when you realize that your life is an altar, you truly start to live as my body is a temple. My body is the house for my soul, and I only get one. And I'm going to cherish me. And so it's a deeper frequency beyond love. Anybody can say, "I love you." Anybody can say, "I love you" to themselves in the mirror. What does it mean? What does it actually mean beyond that? There's a deeper octave. There's a deeper resonance. There's a deeper embodiment. What does it mean to cherish you? What does it mean to cherish your connection with spirit? And if you're not cherishing yourself, you can automatically, you are not able to cherish another. Automatically, you are not able to cherish a dream. Automatically, you are not able to cherish new earth or anything we're trying to do on this planet, as within, so without, right? You cannot give the world what you are not giving yourself. And so I was really reflecting on this idea of being cherished, and I started truly cherishing myself like th in everything. Like I know, like it wouldn't be like, oh, every once in a while I black out drinking. Like I went like cold turkey, and it wasn't cold turkey like overnight. I had spent, you know, years and years and years in this process of unpeeling the layers, but there was just this very key moment. And of course, it happened after breath work where I remember just being like, because I had these like unclean, and clean energy is not about perfection. It's about integrity. There's so much like messy communication, imperfection that is incredibly clean because it's clear, because it's true. I started cherishing myself when I stopped allowing those corners to exist where I was self-abandoning. And I mean, a lot of it is breath work that helps me get there. I Breath work makes me a better person because it helps me pave a path to my highest self where I can cherish me, even when it's scary, even when there's things I don't want to do. And so, one example was I did breath work back in 2020, and I had started talking to my the man that I lived with, and almost married. This is different, not the Indian man. I had started talking to him again, and he, of course, lived around the block from me during the pandemic, and he had a dog, which my childhood dog had reincarnated into his dog. And so it was just so much karmic, like healing that we just totally activated so much deep healing for each other, like crazy. And I did breath work one day and I realized that it any type of connection with that relationship was not cherishing me, and it was straight up blocking me from my destiny and my creator. I was like, this pulls me away from creator every single time. This hurts me. Why am I doing this? And because of breath work, I was able to come to that realization and actually live that out. What I want to share with you about why all of this is coming through is just because I've just learned so much in opening the Holy Habits Hive Mind. And as I coach people and as I steward new layers of my work, it's really not about self-love. It's deeper than that. It's about cherishing you energetically, physically, emotionally, who you surround yourself with. And there's an intersection that happens when you cherish yourself, and it's three-part. It's self-love, self-trust, and self-respect. When those three collide, that is cherishing. That is cherishing you. And what happens when you make that collision point? That X marks the spot. Maybe it's star marks the spot. That's when you become a grounding place for miracles. That's when spirit can work through you. That's when you are the vessel. That's when everything happens. People want to know the how. How do I do it? How do I do it? Well, I mean, I have very specific how. I'm a practical mystic, okay? I actually came from the skeptic side. I only came to spirituality because I wanted to win auditions. I didn't come because was enlightened. I didn't even come because I loved myself. I was deep in addiction. I was just like, I want to win. Apparently, this helps you win. I'll do something that'll help me win. And I accidentally bumbled into a humongous portal of healing that changed the whole trajectory of my life. This is how. This cherishing, this deeper layer. If you cherish yourself, you would make different decisions every day, all day. And if you made an incorrect decision, you would course correct it differently because you cherished yourself. Like when you cherish yourself, you can go toe to toe with your shadow, no problem. Because you're like, actually, this is part of me and I'm God source energy and I'm deeply uncomfortable. However, I'm designed to transmute this. I show up for myself. I don't break promises with me. I keep a squeaky clean, energetic home. And from here, anything's possible. And why the single rose brought me to this is I was just staring at it and I was just thinking about like how amazing it is to just get one rose and how powerful it is because it's rare. It's a category of one. It's one of a kind. To be cherished, to be worshiped. It's elite. It's unique. And it's a layer of deep, pure core essence that being cherished touches. This is what the world needs. This is the solution to every single problem. This is the solution to every single challenge you have in your path right now. How can you cherish yourself more? And when you cherish yourself more, you open up a wide, unbridled highway to your creator, to spirit, to source, to the cosmos. What does it mean to cherish yourself? What different decisions are you going to make and follow through on? I just had a situation in my life where I had this really, really amazing in-person experience, sharing my gifts, and people had just amazing transformations, and it just felt so good. There's something so powerful, powerful about in-person. We need to get back in person after COVID. That's a huge thing. Listen to my episode where I talk about patterns I see for 2025 and listen to the episode Buy the Ticket. And by the way, apply for my Sedona immersion in March. That's coming up. Link to everything in the show notes. It just felt so good to share and have like just this in-person experience was so powerful and meaningful to me. And I went into it not having really any expectations and it was like sold out multiple times and I'm like, wow, I want to keep going. I want to do this. And then as I was moving forward with the process, there were just some things that were not aligned for me. And to participate and move forward in that way would have been me breaking my own promises with me, my own boundaries. It was not cherishing me. And so I pivoted and I'm still going to do my in-person work. However, I'm just like the 3D structure of how it's going to be. And all of that is changing to deeply align with my values and cherish myself because I cannot cherish the people that I'm holding space for if I am not cherishing me. And that is like my deep core value. My three core values as a leader and as just a human are safety, truth, and power. Feeling safe in my presence, truth in my presence, and power, unconditional power. I believe in your power unconditionally, baby. Maybe to an annoying degree sometimes. But it's just this deeper octave of cherishing yourself. And here's the thing. The world does not know how to cherish like as a collective. It's up to us to cultivate this within ourselves and then be the beacons of light to share it with the world. That's really what it is. So the world doesn't need more love. You know, the Beatles said love is all you need. I beg to differ. I beg to differ, Paul McCartney. It's not love. It's cherish. It's being cherished. It's this wild, wide intersection of divinity, love, trust, and respect within yourself. That's what it is. And we must cherish ourselves. We must cherish our relationship with our creator above anything else. You know, right now, there's one thing coming to your mind right now that you know and you've known for a while. This is something I do, and I know it takes me away from the light of the creator. I know it takes me off my path, and I'm doing it anyways. Clean that up today. Once you know, you can't unknow. After that, you are responsible. After that, you're breaking trust with yourself. And then you wonder why you don't trust yourself. That's part of the cherishment, right? Self-love, self-trust, self-respect. What if you were the asset? What if you were the greatest resource? What if you treasured yourself? You know, I went to this shop, this where I got this bee, and I got these soaps, and they're just like the most clean. So I will say, living on the mainland after being on Maui and living in Hawaii, the amount of toxins in literally everything is very alarming. The same thing of like, if you go abroad for a while and then you come back to the US and all you can see is plastic because you got used to the normal where, you know, people just don't use plastic because it's bad for Earth. And then you come back to the US and you're like, all I see is plastic. Like, this is so wrong. Talk about cherishing. We don't cherish Mother Earth. We don't honor her. We don't treat her as the greatest resource. We don't worship her. We don't treasure her. No wonder shit's bad with her. You know what I'm saying? I got all these soaps and they're all natural and they have beeswax and honey and coconut and it just felt so good and I came home and I took a shower and I put some essential oils in my diffuser and I was just like, oh, I was like cherishing myself. However, that level of cherishing, obviously for the physical body, but if it's not matched with the energetics through your actions in all parts of life, you're going to have a leaky hole in your life, draining your life force. So I feel complete. That's today's episode. It's more, you need more than love. We need more than love in this world. We need cherishing. Cherish yourself, cherish your relationship with spirit, cherish every other soul on the planet. Hmm. Feeling soft and sweet with this one. If you want to go deeper into cherishing yourself, join the Holy Habits Hive Mind. The application will be in the show notes. If the doors are still open when you listen to this episode, go ahead and apply right now. I don't think they'll be open much longer. If they're not, there'll be a link to the wait list if I ever do another round in the future. Um, you can join. I mean, the links to everything right now are going to be in the show notes. I have my new Earth astrology guide. I just did a February reading, very, very important. And my Sedona immersion. If you want to get in person with me on sacred land in Sedona in March at the equinox for a total quantum leap in cherishing yourself and blasting off in your dreams, this is for you. Go apply through the link in the show notes. I love you so much. Go out there, be the change, be the light, be the real you, make a stranger smile because your smile can change the world. And lighting up their heart could change everything. You have no idea. Cherish yourself more deeply. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.